Some time ago, Microsoft has announced that it's monitoring its OpenAI instance for potential abuse. And as soon as people heard it, they lost their minds. Let's talk about this today. Yes, we're back talking about generative AI, the most popular topic on the internet right now. So let's do that. All right, so when we use generative AI, when we use ChatGPT, Microsoft, what are the different ways of accessing this LLM and what are the repercussions for doing so? So when you just go to ChatGPT website, you create a free account or maybe no account at all, you enter your queries, maybe paste text of a document. Well, that data that you put in gets saved so that ChatGPT could improve their product. It also gets saved so they could monitor for abuse if you're doing something bad, asking for bomb-making tips or something like that. I don't know if it's blocked or not, just saying. The other way to access generative AI is through API. So we can sign up for a paid account and we can use API calls to ChatGPT and we can get responses programmatically. Now that follows slightly different set of rules. The data doesn't get saved to improve the product, but it does get saved in order to monitor for abuse. And so people are not super happy, like, hey, you guys saving my queries, possibly snippets of documents, that's not cool. And that was where Microsoft came out. Hey, we can host our own version of OpenAI language model, and you can, it's your own cloud, so you can query it, it's your data, it's everything yours, nothing gets used to train the database or anything like that. And a lot of people got really excited about it because that's what they want. That seemed to be like what we really want to use for legal. But then the news came out that Microsoft is actually monitoring OpenAI use for potential abuse. And this is where people got uncomfortable with because they were under the impression that Microsoft isn't saving anything, it's completely private, there are no logs or anything like that, it's totally your own private thing. And now that people find out that Microsoft is actually logging your queries, they started freaking out. Now the issue is the logs are being saved somewhere, and because they are being saved somewhere, there is a chance of, other people seeing them. And then if there is some kind of data breach, leak, whatever, those logs could expose their client's documents. So it's a justifiable concern. Now, before we continue this conversation, we need to get something out of the way. And this is something you have to get through your head, is as soon as you put data, as soon as you put anything into the cloud, you lose control of that data. Whatever's in the cloud, you have no control of it. I know it sounds harsh, I know this is not what people want you to believe, but cloud is not something that you can control. And we can start from things you already know, like purchasing movies, music, and ebooks when your purchases are in the cloud, right? You purchase a movie online, you never purchase, you never own it, you never have it, right? It could be taken away from you at any moment, and it does happen, like Sony took away people's movies and ebooks got removed from book readers and stuff like that. Same thing applies to other cloud technologies. You use Dropbox, OneDrive, things get accidentally deleted. Google Drive users lost files. And yes, eDiscovery Cloud is in a completely different category, but it still follows same basic rules. It is someone else's computer. You take your data and you put it somewhere else. And there are always going to be people who will have access to the data. They'll be able to oversee it. They can potentially leak it somewhere. It's just how it is. If the data is not on your computer or the network that you own and control, you don't have control of the data. I know it sucks to hear, but when you put data in the cloud, there's always going to be somebody seeing something. The only way around that would be is if you encrypt your data first on your network and then upload it to the cloud, then even cloud provider is not able to see what the data is, but that's not how things work generally. You upload the data and potentially it's encrypted in place, but again, in order to do imaging, in order to do processing, data has to be decrypted and cloud provider servers have to access the data. So now we got that out of the way. Is it justifiable for generative AI vendor to monitor queries? I think that's really the question. Is it okay to do? And I think the answer is yes. The reason for that is this is such a powerful tool that could be used for good, but it could also be used for evil. And there is no way to know how people are going to be using it. Even if it's Microsoft who has audited companies and, made sure that they're good in a way, and then they granted them access to it, there is no way that that access is going to be used for good. The software company could be sold to another company who could turn into a spam call center who'll be using power of Microsoft generative AI to do bad things, right? So in my opinion, tools like that should be monitored, and giving up some privacy is kind of expected. And we are already giving up some of the privacy, when we use our phones, our cars that are connected to everything. So it's probably not that big of a deal if a company like Microsoft does some oversight to make sure their tools aren't being used for evil purpose. Is there a way of getting around being monitored by Microsoft? Well, funny enough, yes, there is. How do you do it? Pay them lots of money. I think it's like $50,000 or something like that. If you pay them one-time fee, they will stop monitoring your account for potential abuse. I don't know how it makes sense. How do you, just because someone gave you money and now you start trusting them? I don't know how that works, but apparently there is a thing like that where if you pay them, they're not going to be monitoring you anymore, supposedly. So is that the right approach to solving this problem, just paying Microsoft? No, I don't think it is. I think the advantage of using Microsoft OpenAI and just GPT's API access kind of leveled up, I don't know if we can say that Microsoft is so much more secure and so much better. To me, it feels like it's kind of the same. There's always going to be some kind of long contract where on page 82 in the paragraph 2, subparagraph 4, there's going to be some kind of clause for something. I don't think we'll get around that. And what I said earlier about if it's not on your network, you have no control over it, I think applies. And so when we are going to be using these generative AI technologies, that's just something we have to expect. Just like we're giving up privacy in other areas of our lives, this is going to be another one. Is it okay to use your client's data in such a situation? Who knows? I know people that wouldn't hesitate to use Google's Translate to copy and paste chunk of text, and they could care less. Is that a right thing to do? Probably not. Will people be using it? Yes, absolutely. So debate continues. So that's my opinion on the matter. But let me hear yours. Do you think technologies such as generative AI, should they be monitored for potential abuse or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on another video.